Is GameMaker dead? Is GameMaker really dying? If you are into game development or have any familiarity with the program GameMaker Studio 1, 2, or the past versions, GameMaker has made some pretty interesting changes. Now, I want to preface this, my friends, by saying that I really enjoy GameMaker. I've been using GameMaker for many years, perhaps longer than some of you watching this have even been alive. I think it's been almost 2 decades. I believe I started out with GameMaker 5 or 6. I can't remember exactly. I remember the move to GameMaker 7 back in the days where it was something created by Mark Overmar. And eventually we moved to GameMaker 8 and then GameMaker Studio 1 and now GameMaker Studio 2, which is what a lot of people are using as the newest, latest, greatest IDE for game development in that specific 2D niche. It's what I use to make my game Surviving Tonight, which I just released on Steam a week ago. It's used by many people, whether they're getting into game development for the very first time or whether they've been doing it for, decades, like myself. Earlier this week, some news came out that as GameMaker has been shifted around by Yo-Yo Games and now by the Opera team, I think that makes the Opera browser, that they will be moving to a new pricing platform instead of buying the system and its various packages one time and owning them for life. Going forward, it will be a subscription-based model, my friends. A standard GameMaker license and very basic exporting options. You'll pay $10 a month, and if you want like console support and a little bit further than that, then you'll have to pay $80 a month, my friends. Yikes. I'm very lucky that my existing license that I own is not scheduled to change to a subscription. However, when GameMaker 3 eventually comes out, or whatever the next iteration is, you can bet that they will be utilizing the subscription model. So if I want to continue to use GameMaker in future iterations in the future, I'm going to be locked into that as well myself. I've seen some people on the internet and on Reddit saying, well, it's not a big deal. You can still develop your game for months and months, and then when you're ready to export it, say to release it on Steam, just pay $10 for 1 month and release it. The thing is though, my friends, I've got many games that already exist out there, whether on Steam or Android, and like I said, I just released a new game on Steam. I'm not just gonna have to export one time. I'm gonna have to export before that in order to get test builds of the game out into places like itch.io and hand them out to people to try out, months in advance. Anybody seriously thinking about releasing a game is gonna have to export before that. And then once your game is out, you're gonna be pushing updates. It's kind of the expected mantra of game development these days, is that when a game comes out, it is expected to be upgraded for so long, especially if you're building anything online or anything like that. And I'll be pushing out patches to my game for years to come if things go well and the game is successful enough to justify me putting time into those updates, which means there's no 1 month purchase of this license. This is something that any serious game developer that's published a game is going to have to continue to use. In addition to that, if you haven't released a bunch of games or are not intending it, if you're just somebody looking to get into game development and try it out, this is still really limiting, because now you have a subscription price to pay just to get in the door, really. I mean, if you want to try out GameMaker and participate in some GameMaker jams, which require exporting, or just releasing some small, simple things that you're not taking super seriously with a marketing effort or anything like that on a small place like GameJolt or itch.io or whatever, you still have to export those, and you still have to lock into some kind of subscription method, my friends. It's just, I don't know. Now, maybe I'm being extreme calling out this as the death of GameMaker. Maybe it's the beginning of the death of GameMaker. I'm not sure. I just feel like this is going to turn a lot of people off, and it's going to push a lot of people that are either using GameMaker or are looking at using GameMaker into going somewhere else like Godot or Godot or Unity or whatever else there is. There's a lot of alternatives out there that don't require this kind of pricing structure. Now I understand that there's been a lot of pieces of software over the last years, think of like Microsoft Office stuff, moving to these subscription models, but this is not the way that you get new small indie game developers, young kids that don't really have that kind of money to spend into game development. I just don't think this is the right approach, my friends. I'm not out here claiming to have a better solution. I understand that the developers of GameMaker and then the companies that have acquired them, it's a business for them. They have to make money. They have to make a profit for it to continue going forward. And I've had no issues paying for a lifetime license for GameMaker and proudly stating that I'm using it to build my games in the past. It's just this model, I just don't see it working out, and I think it could chip away. And while GameMaker may not be dead today, if things don't work out well, this could very well be the path that leads to GameMaker's extinction. And who knows, I guess we'll check back in a year or two and see where things are at, and see if this is reversed because it's not very popular, or if they stick with it and they find a niche audience that seems to be enough to support the future development of the program, or maybe this is the death of GameMaker. I don't want that option to be what we see, my friends. I think it's a really great piece of software that allows us to make some amazing games. You know, look at some of the stuff that was made with it, like Hotline Miami and all these other games out there. Know what you think in the comments. Do you think that GameMaker is going to die? Is this a good thing, a bad thing? Why? What program do you use to make games, if you make games? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future updates like this. I'll talk to you guys again. Stay cool, and as always, later.